Yeah, I've been, well, in a lot of industries, but mostly spirits on and off for about 25 years. And most recently, a few years ago, along with two other co-founders, we launched this initiative called Pronghorn. And the country was in the middle of this racial reckoning, right? And it was old news for us, but it was new for some. And actually giving all honestly good credit to the spirits industry. I started getting calls of all the heads of these big multinational billion-dollar companies saying, what should we do?" And we said, "Look, don't call me about murals or doing small things. If we want to do something, we want to figure out how we actually transform the industry." And actually, after a little bit of modeling work, we said, well, how do we figure out what the appropriate template is to effectively diversify any industry? And we're going to start with the Black American community, and we're going to start with the spirits or the beverage alcohol, but it's about building an open code that you could do the same thing in oil and gas or tech in the future. And we've been well on our way and have affected a 5% lift of Black American employees in the industry. And we've now invested in 23 Black-owned spirits brands. So if you're desirous to have a all-Black bar on your home shelf, or if you're a restaurant or lounge owner, it is easily available to you. So I'm a geek, right? So I think curiosity is one. I love learning.
Yes.
So I think that's one. But my real superpower is probably just problem solving. I have that 1-900 hustler. You could call me with any problem. I may not even know the subject matter, but I think I'm good at being like, we could do this. So let's figure this out. Let's take this research, this resources, these humans, this data, this information, and thinking like a scientist. Once you have a proposed solution, let's get to it. Let's have a bias for action rather. We learn, and either you fail fast or you learn a lot, and you keep iterating until you get to the winning combination. Yeah, well, two things. I grew up in a house that was very like, you can figure it out. Like from early on, it was very like, A, if you can get a B, you can get an A. So anything worth doing, let's think audaciously. Anything worth doing, let's think audaciously. And then two, you think at the level of tactics, but what's probable, right? You could do big things. We could say we want to figure out how to build a development in the next galaxy. But in order to do that, then you got to have both audacity of vision, but simplicity of execution, right? Well, how many humans? How many hours? How many minutes? We got to meet aliens. Do we need an alien diplomacy committee? Do we need to figure out, is it unicorns riding up there? What's our transportation? How are we going to breathe? What are we going to eat? Right? So it was always a balance of, think really big, but then what tools are you going to need? How do you make change with your hands and feet? Simply, we waste so much time and money with resisting what's inevitable. So one quick example, I used to work very closely with the music industry. I was in radio, and I had all of the hip hop music labels in New York. And I remember distinctly going in, and these powerful executives would be in these meetings, serious war rooms, saying, how are we going to fight the internet? And this was and this sounds ridiculous now, right? But I'm not joking. This was a real passion, intensity, money, the best brains on it. We got to fight the internet. We're going to figure it out, going on for years. And that followed a precipitous drop of revenue in the music industry. We're kind of in that period again where you had this American word bubble of DEI spike that precipitously dropped, as if diversity is not only going one way. Any corporation that wants their revenues to also go up like diversity is, would be thinking about this like, oh, we have a new community. We have a new opportunity. How are we going to hire people that reflect this? How are we going to learn? How are we going to fine tune instead of fighting it? It's going to happen. And in fact, if you do it right, it's just good for business. So let's not waste the time of pretending something inevitable is not in fact inevitable. I would say just the importance of like your girl tribe or your community. I have been blessed with like some incredible friends I've had since I was 8 years old. And you can't get, there's periods of time I look back at my work life and so much work that you sometimes neglect the real reason we even have a chance to live life, right? It's joy, it's community, it's communion, it's relationships. So the advice that, nurturing yourself includes nurturing your tribe and your community. And as I've gotten older, I've been trying to be much more intentional about that. So for one, I think it's important, and I really have always felt you can lead from any seat, right? So no matter what your title is, it's less about some big title as a leader, and it's more about how do you persuade and galvanize, right? How do you get people to feel enrolled and excited? Because you're not going to get, that's the best. First of all, it's the most fun when everybody's like, we're on a mission together. It's just better and easier. And what somebody will do when they believe in something and they understand what their role is in that impact, you can't pay somebody enough money to have that kind of energy and inspiration. So when I think about leadership, it's actually about what can I do to unlock and embolden a sea of leaders? I want to be surrounded from the back to the side and front, that everybody feels like a leader in their role, right? That I'm succession planning of everybody I meet. I think that has been the unlock for me. It's the most common miracle to have the responsibility of a child. And it could happen, I don't know the stats, it could happen 1 million times a day, but it is never any less inspiring to me that the power that my husband and I were granted, like we made a child and she's walking around learning new things every single day. And, you know, all the systems are working together, and it may seem common, but it's a power I don't take for granted of our ability to impact and influence this very precious life, this thing that we love more than anything in the world. So no matter what I do from a work standpoint, the power to actually shape someone's life, we don't take it for granted. To make sure you invest in your health and your wealth. And they are the two things that actually have compound interest. So don't wait, and forgive me for all my thing, but don't wait to be great. So right, if you start at 19, I'm gonna put this $5 in the safe, into some bonds, right? The payoff for that 50 years from now is so beneficial. If at 19 you say, I'm gonna do 20-minute jump rope twice a week, the payoff for that in your 50s and 60s, these things enrich your health, enrich your freedom, because that's really what capital is. And when those two things are taken care of, then you can really be free to pursue joy, which is the real point of our lives.